Hello and welcome everybody to Star Citizen. We're in my hangar, which looks absolutely dreadful. Today I want to talk to you about something. I want to talk to you about two things. Two things that at first might seem very different, but are not so different. That, well, can be connected into one video. I want to talk about Star Citizen's new social module, which we're going to see soon in the video, and the concept of virtual reality and the future of virtual reality. As I very unprofessionally as I very unprofessionally lower the audio, so you may actually be able to hear my voice. I'm literally doing this just as background footage for a discussion, so it's one of those videos where I just ramble on about something and you sort of shut the video down about 2 minutes in because I'm annoying, probably. Well, here's the thing. First of all, we're going to talk about the first we're going to talk about the Star Citizen thing. As I lay down on my bed, I do this as a ritual every single time I load up the game. I get in my bed, and then I get up from the bed immediately, and then go do stuff. It's just a thing. I have a button that lets me lie in bed and relax. I will press it every single time I load up. It's just accept things as they are. So, let's get over to the virtual. No, I keep saying let's get over to the virtual world discussion. No, that comes later. Let's get over to the social thing that sounds like a Facebook plugin, but trust me, it's not. It's an actual thing that you're gonna like. It's like an MMO part of the game, which is very, very cool. So, here's how you get to it, by the way. There you go. So, we're going to look at some very pretty scenery and walk through a city and explore it while we rant on about virtual reality this time. Yes. So, we're going to see the social system thing that they implemented, and we're going to talk about virtual reality while we're looking at the other thing. These two might seem completely disconnected. They are not. They are not. All shall be revealed to you within due time. I want to talk about primarily the future of virtual reality and the future of VR gaming and things associated with this. I was inspired, to be very brutally honest, to do this video by watching an anime, and every bad video starts with that inspiration. I know. In all seriousness, though, I've watched an anime called Sword Art Online. You may like it, you may not. You reserve that for yourselves. I don't particularly care. This is not the topic of this this video. I personally adored it, but that's a topic for another time, I think. The anime did, though, play a lot with the concept of virtual reality and introduced some very interesting discussions. Well, let's say sparked some very interesting discussions. I was kicked. Apparently, why was I kicked? You know what? Everyone and their mother is trying to get in to the social thing, so yeah. While we load in, it's a pretty picture, though. It's been here since the earliest days, but it is you know, it's just gets slightly less pixelated with each update. At least I think it does. Oh, okay, let's try that again then. The reason I decided to pick Star Citizen and this social module thing is because it resembled what I saw in Sword Art Online a lot. And that is, they toyed with the concept of, is virtual reality a fantasy? Or is it real? How real is virtual reality? Because virtual and reality are not opposites. Right? They are not opposite meanings of a concept, right? They are not. They can work together. Like, they are not opposite. They don't mean opposite things, right? So the game. Well, I wish. The anime basically said, the only difference between virtual reality and the real world is there's more information in the real world. It may seem silly at first, but if you think about it, that's by definition true. It's just more information, more stuff to process, more stuff to do. That's it. There's not much more difference than that if you think about it. It all comes down to more information in one rather than the other. But that's completely irrelevant for what we're going to talk about. I digress. How do I see the future of video gaming? And I picked this game, Star Citizen, because of quite a few reasons. Am I in this elevator with another person? Yes, I am. Okay. I picked this game for quite a few reasons. Because you may or may not know that Star Citizen received $80 million in funding. Yeah. It got $80 million in funding just from us, basically. Just from us buying stuff in the game and making donations and whatnot. Well, it doesn't need 80 million from us. It needed about 50, I think, was the top price they can ask. The rest, they diverted to server maintenance and things like that, and part of the money went to making it a more compatible VR experience. Namely with the Oculus Rift, but I'm sure with other devices that will come in the future. And the reason I'm saying this is because we're going to look through everything that they've added in this sort of town for you to explore, this is much like in Sword Art Online. This is real life, the video game, set in future. There is marketing here. Look, they are trying to sell you guns. How many games have that? Actual marketing. And you would, like, take a walk outside. There's marketing everywhere. They are trying to sell you ships. They're trying to get you to buy their product because they're not omnipotent beings that don't care about anything. They are, to an extent, made to be as real as possible. If you take a look at the trade system and the economy system, it is going to be mostly completely reliant on the player base, which is bold, but incredibly awesome as well. Like, it's not going to be sell all your stuff to an NPC. It is going to rely more on you actually conducting trade properly. Look at that, there's marketing down there. You have no idea how happy that makes me. It makes the game and the world feel alive. Put this in VR. Put this in VR. Put something like, again, in Sword Art Online. I keep bringing it up. If you haven't seen it, it's very awkward to watch the video, but basically, I'm going to explain it, how I see the future of VR gaming and why I think Sword Art Online made a great point there. What happens after the Oculus Rift? Because think back 15 years, right? Think back how our computers looked like 15 years ago. As a guy frantically spins. Think back on how our computers looked like 15 years ago. They were dreadful in comparison. Sure, we had great games. Yeah, I'm not negating that, but in comparison to today's standards, they were pretty dreadful. Think about what's going to happen 15 years from today. Today's computers are going to be pretty dreadful, and technology as a whole is going to be pretty bloody dreadful. So, I ask you, what happens after we develop a system of devices like the Oculus Rift, whereby you put something on your head and you're more directly inside the action of a game, of a world, of whatever. It doesn't have to be a game, but let's say a game for all intents and purposes. Because it's mostly developed for gaming, right? Well, what's next? I mean, sure, we develop it and perfect the system, and now you're not looking at a screen, you're seeing it through the eyes of your character a lot more directly. For example, you turn your head left, and the guy's going to turn left. Yeah, that's taking away devices from you. It's bringing your control to you a lot more personally, right? So your physical movement will be influenced by, well, rather your physical movement will influence your character. In SAO, in the I think it's 2022 when it all starts. You get in a sort of sleep state, but a half coma-ish state, and it's kind of like a dream. You physically are in the game. Well, you're not physically in the game, but you are in the game mentally. You control movement as if, for example, imagine, don't do it, just imagine holding your hands up, and your character holds your hands up. In the meantime, you're sleeping in the world. Well, not really sleeping, but you're just laying in bed in the real world. But with your mind, you're basically controlling everything. Is that the future of gaming? Is that the future of virtual reality? I bloody hope so. Because why not think a look at that example. For example, something like that. The only genre, well, there are a couple of genres that wouldn't exactly benefit from this. One of the genres that wouldn't is strategy games, because there isn't a player there. But racing games, yeah, instead of holding W on a keyboard or pushing an axis forward on a gamepad, you get to turn a wheel physically. And yes, I know you can buy a racing wheel and all that stuff, but you get to be there, like actually be there inside a virtual world. And at what point does it just resemble real life too much? And not in a negative way either. Because, maybe someone doesn't like that concept. Fair enough, more power to you, but at one point, it is going to be not indistinguishable from the real world and actually doing that. Actually going to a racing track and driving a buggy around sand dunes or whatever. But at one point, it's going to be pretty damn similar. And virtual reality is not going to be a fantasy world that we escape to every half an hour, every 2 or 3 hours a day. If you go there, if you do stuff like that, not physically do them, but within this system, you actually do those things 4 or 5 hours each day, they get into your daily routine. At one point, is it not fantasy and mucking about anymore? At one point, it becomes real. You're not actually shooting someone. You're not actually driving or racing. But it still becomes pretty bloody real, doesn't it? I mean, it is still. You don't have to be physically doing something for it to not be real. For example, there are things in real life as well. For example, you don't have to be physically doing something for it to be real. Right? Not everything you feel, know, is experienced through physical touch. Love, laughter, has nothing to do with you physically well, most of the time, it has nothing to do with you actually physically doing something, yet it's extremely real, isn't it? And at one point, VR is going to be, that's the highest degree of unprofessionalism, but shout out to Femanda on Twitter for following, thank you. Yeah, at one point it gets scarily close to reality, and I think, imagine being able to go inside this world, not hold W and walk around the city and explore it, but be there and at least mentally move your legs and explore around the city, go to a bar, have a drink. How amazing is that going to be within this world of amazing adventures, spaceships, wars, marines, and then again, parallel to that, peace. You can be a trader. You can go from here to another planet, buy a load of medicine. I want to say drugs, but buy a load of, yeah, there's a clinic, see? Buy a load of medicine and go and sell it on another planet and make money and spend 2 hours of your day doing that. And you might not find that funny. You might, in order to have your piece of entertainment, you might feel the need to kill someone, and you're welcome to do that. But personally, I don't find any of that to be boring. Like, sure enough, I could be a trader in this game. I could be a dude that sits in a cafeteria for about 10 minutes, has a drink, then goes to his spaceship, flies across the universe, sells his goods, and yeah, I've done something, This is the emergency one. Yeah, you can't enter here yet. It's a shame. There isn't actually much to do within Star Citizen right now. But why am I bringing all this up? Why am I... It seems like I've gotten too far away from reality. The irony of that sentence is not lost to me. It seems like you're just rambling now. You're making... It doesn't make any sense, right? Why would you discuss these things? Because I think that is what we're gonna have. You and me, yes, you listening to me right now. That is what I believe we're going to experience. 15 years from now? Doubt it. 20? 25? We're going to be a lot around by then, when we're old guys, more or less. Depends, you know, how old you are. Usually YouTube has well, my channel and most of YouTube has a pretty younger demographic, so you're not going to be old by then, but still, you're going to be able to do stuff like that. Is that not amazing? Let's take a break from the real world, quotation marks. And stop all the politics that's going around in the real world and the droughts and wars and famine and God knows what. Think about this for a second. Is that not an amazing concept? That at one point a game is going to evolve beyond the point of being just a game. And don't get me wrong, I don't mean that everyone is going to be playing this game in particular and going to be like, oh, this is, yeah, I don't need to live in real life anymore or anything. Like, I have everything here and everything. No, but still, like, is that not, how amazing is the creation of something like that? We have created, well, rather, I hope, we will be able to create a world within our own world. To create a fully functioning, living, breathing world within our world. Gods in the machines. Ladies and gentlemen, gods in the machines. And to think that, that is now a huge possibility. It's it's not unrealistic at all, and I have found the slums apparently naturally one of the first things I find in the bloody city. Yeah, this is where I'm going to be working. This is where a lot of people are going to be starting off, I assume, getting rid of rubbish. But to think that the possibility of something like that is so realistic excites me very much for the future of VR. Because again, I go back to this. What happens after we perfect a system like the Oculus Rift? And make it good, you know, right now it's more of a technical demonstration, there aren't any real games in it, right? You get to hold objects in the Oculus Rift right now and I guess throw them around a little bit, and that's it. But let's say within this, what you're seeing right now, like right now, you get an Oculus Rift to run it really, really well. And you're going to be able to because there's $20 million that the developers have separated just to make it look good on the Oculus and make it work with the Oculus if the Oculus gets popular, of course. And you're here, you're turning your head around and exploring this city. What's the... Again, the phone. I should have turned it off. What's the next step? You know, what's further than that? I wanted to share this... To share this sort of... I don't want to say revelation, but... I want to share my excitement for the future with you guys and what I think of virtual reality. Because this game is living proof that we can make... Don't look at that. No, seriously, this game is living proof that we can make a world within our own world. Isn't it? In a way it is, isn't it? It's living proof that we can make a game and make it look a lot like something you would see an actual person doing in their free time. On Earth, having a drink, having a job, doing stuff, being a police officer or whatever. And maybe you don't like this concept of realism, and you know I'm done with my job for the day. I don't want to have a job in a game, right? I want to have fun. Fair enough, you can absolutely do that. It's not the point. The point is we can. I understand why they're up here now. It's actually oddly entertaining. Okay, I'm having way too much fun with this. Can I get up here? Probably through this thing, because it clips you upwards slightly as you get up. Yep, there it is. Got it. Lovely. Cool. Alright. Anyways. You spin me right round, baby, right round. Right round. I wouldn't mind buying this thing. I digress. I'm curious on what you think is the future of VR, and would you think VR has a place in the near future for gaming? Because let's be honest, it's mainly being developed for gaming, right? What do you think of the VR in the future? That's what I want to know. Down in the comments below. Third time in a row the phone is dinging and doing something. Oh well. Anyways, that's pretty much. What? Oh, never mind. I get way too distracted. I'm sorry. I'm grasping onto a straw right now. If I were a professional, I would edit this out, but of course I'm not going to because I'm not one. It excites me. It really does. It really does to think that something that seems so outlandish, so alien to us right now, could be a thing that we can enjoy in you know, a dozen or so years, a couple of dozen years, like literally 20 years or so, which is a long time. Don't get me wrong, it is a long time. But the sheer notion that we are going towards something like that, a bit scary and a bit impressive as well, isn't it? This video's been going on for way too long, but I know that there are those of you who think Star Citizen is going to be utter bull crap, and those of you that think EVE Online is the be-all end-all of all space thing related games, and this is, you shouldn't waste your time with this, and yeah, whatever. Again, not the point. I'm not singling out a single system or a game or a genre even. I'm talking a lot more generally about what VR might be like in the future. It's called nerve gear, by the way, in SAO. I think I may have gone a little bit too far with the concept and the way that it's been done and introduced. I really am curious about these medic things as well, hospital items and whatnot. But yeah, I may have gone a little bit too far, but not too much. As you know, obviously I don't expect it to be exactly like in an anime. That's a bit ridiculous to assume something like that. But we are going in that direction, are we not? It's flicking. Look at it. Oh, disgusting. We are moving towards. At least I get the feel that the future of you know, what happens after a PC, after the PCs and the consoles. I get the feeling that we're moving towards putting a player as directly in a game as is physically possible. And that's awesome. Is that not amazing? I think that's amazing. We're going to take one last look at the guns in this shop. And does this not... For any of you that have watched SAO, this entire shop is going to be a huge nostalgia hit. But for any of you that haven't, are just going to be looking at some guns and going to be like, oh, I guess they look cool. Anyways, there's like grenades, different types of grenades. Yeah, I can't wait for the Space Marine module to be released. It's going to be amazing. Anyways, I've rambled on for way too long. As I said, I'm really curious to see and hear as to what you think the future of VR is going to be, and what, you know, what we might expect to see in the next 15 or 20 years, because it's not often that I get to sort of dwell on this and discuss it with myself or with others. But I think even if you think I'm being completely stupid and crazy and none of this is making any sense to you, fine, fine, I accept. I am just merely rambling on about what I think might happen in the next X amount of years. Even if I'm completely right or completely wrong, it's besides well, it's not besides the point, but it's not such a huge issue. I think the main point is gaming is evolving quickly, very quickly. Think a dozen years or so back what gaming used to be. It used to be a nuisance. It used to be something to be ashamed of, let's be honest. Like, we were nerds back then, and nerd right now and geek are not offensive anymore. Someone calls me a nerd or a geek, I'm like, hell yeah. Think a couple of years back, we used to be the outcasts in society. In many ways we still are, but now there's more of us, so like, feel more accepted towards each other, I guess. This is going on to social studies, isn't it? This is moving way beyond VR discussion. Still, my point is, I think we're going to have very exciting times ahead of us, and it's a good time to be a gamer now, and it will be a good time to be a gamer 20 years in the future, and it will be awesome. That's all. Because I really love the god rays and the buildings and everything. I think it looks absolutely amazing. Maybe I'm just a bit overstating it because I've poured way more money than I should have into this game. But I don't know. You think the 80 million came from our pockets, and a lot of it came from mine. And nowhere near as much. I know people have donated like $1,000 to this game, which is absolutely incredible. I had that ship. I think I flew it at one point. It was the testing one, wasn't it? We had that one free for about a month. It's besides the point. I digress again. Even if you think that this entire notion of the way SAO did it, and the way SAO creators imagine it, and myself as well, of like getting it as physically close to our persona and our, you know, biologically us moving our body, as close, getting gaming as close to that as possible. Even if you think that's completely stupid and should never be done, and the only future we should have in terms of VR is an Oculus Rift or slightly prettier controllers, I think the point still stands that it is going to be fun. It's going to be dramatic and fun. And that excites me very much. And I want to just sort of make this video as a bit of a discussion with you guys as to what you think is going to happen. That's just really the point of it, more so than anything else. But there was something else I wanted to say. Now I completely forgot. That train sailed away some time ago, apparently. No, I can't remember. I really cannot. Started with, if you think that the entire VR thing is completely outlandish and stupid, and it's never going to happen, then it still doesn't matter too much. But yeah, oh yeah, it came back to me as if by magic. Think about entertainment and games, right? In some 5,000 years before Christ, gaming existed. Not on PCs, obviously, but entertainment and games existed. They weren't video games. Board games existed. Think about this. Board games existed 5,000 years before Christ. They are going to exist 5,000 years after as well. You can bet. You can bet on that. And as a species, we needed entertainment. Since the dawn of time, we needed entertainment. Even cavemen had their games and ways of entertainment. Gaming is not something that's going to go away ever, as long as there's humans on Earth. It's my modest and maybe simplistic opinion, but this is only going to go forward as from where I can see it. And I don't want to get involved in a discussion about suffering in the world and the real problems of the world and famine and greed and corporations and yeah. I don't want to discuss that right now, nor ever on this channel, to be honest. But I think that in spite of all this, we as gamers are just going forwards recklessly, speeding forward without any sort of brakes whatsoever. We're going to make mistakes along the way. Can I commit suicide? Apparently not. We're going to make mistakes along the way. We're going to make failures along the way, but it's going to be amusing and it's going to be fun. And it's going to evolve and change a lot. And if it evolves in the same way I think it will, basically like the VR thing, which I would really love, then great. If it evolves in a completely different sphere in a different way, great. Again, I just wanted to make it sort of a little bit of a discussion and throwing ideas out there type video more than anything else. If you managed to listen through all of that rambling and are still here somehow, I applaud you. That's an applause. I applaud you. Congratulations. You are more patient than I ever thought my audience was. Thank you, of course. Thank you very, very much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe down below if you enjoyed the video and want to support me as a YouTube personality. And until next time, take care. My name's been Juggernaut. And this was a bit of a pointless, but I feel like somewhat amusing discussion about VR, virtual reality that is, and the social module within Star Citizen. Bye.